I do feel like when you are not just comfortable in your own skin, but you are happy and you are joyful about where you are and who you are and being authentically you, and you know what your values are and you know what being in alignment is and what it feels like, that's when everything starts to fall into place.
If you get an inspiration, just go for it. Just go for the act. You never know who's being prepared, and you are being prepared. And it's just your job to ask. And if someone says no, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything about you, but you've probably got some great ideas rattling around in there. And I think a lot of women are trying to do all the things on their own. And why not reach out to other individuals and collaborate and coordinate and bring your communities together? And I know, Amberly, I first met you through a mutual friend of ours, Tiffany. I ended up being a member of your mastermind, and I've had women in my community that have done some things with you, and the spirit of generosity and just like the connection through being in those rooms, I would have never known those women had I not worked with you. I was in Patrice's room. Like, I would have never known these women. And I love getting in rooms with other women.
Once your mind has been expanded, it can never be contracted again. Like, once you know that something is possible, it raises not just a certain amount of belief, but also expectation. Like, your soul has an expectation that, man, if I keep doing this, I can have this. If I keep getting in these spaces, because being in the space with the right people changes your language.
Welcome back to the Amberly Lago Show. Thank you for being here. Today's episode is all about something that can truly make or break your success. It's the people you surround yourself with. So I always say your environment is everything. And that's why I'm so excited to have two powerhouse women on the show today, Patrice Washington and Brooke Hemingway. Y'all, these are not just incredible leaders and entrepreneurs. They're a couple of my best friends, and we're doing something exciting that I can't wait to share with you. And they've each played a huge role in my life when it comes to growth and purpose and staying grounded. So in this episode, we're talking about the power of aligned relationships and how to attract the right people into your life, how to build meaningful connections that uplift you, and why surrounding yourself with the right tribe, it can elevate your mission, your mindset, and your momentum. So if you're ready to level up your circle and cultivate the kind of relationships that help you thrive, this one is for you. Okay, let's dive in.
One of the things I've been feeling for, I don't know, a couple months up to the conversation that I had when I reached out to Amberly and I reached out to you, Patrice, was I was tired of doing everything on my own. And I wasn't feeling that I needed to be the only person that was the expert at all the things. And I think a lot of times in this world, because we have so many powerful women and so many incredible creators, that women feel like they have to learn how to master everything and they have to be amazing at everything. And they have to be like, I'm every woman, you know, it's like Whitney Houston, I'm every woman. I can do this and I can do that and I can do it all on my own. And I just was in this place where it's like, I know I could do it on my own. I know I could have a beautiful experience, a beautiful retreat on Kauai. It's my home island. It's where all of my kids were born and raised. It's the most beautiful island of all of the Hawaiian islands. It's the most healing, joyful, just expansive creation kind of island. I know I could do that, but my desire was not to do it alone. And my desire moving forward in all the things that I do is to find genuine, like-hearted people and collaborate with them and to support them in what they're doing and to bring our people together, because good people know good people. And I also feel like sometimes in our own communities, we do bring good people in, but we need to expose our good people to other good people. And so I remember walking along the beach one day, and I was on the South Shore, which is where this incredible experience is going to happen in July. And I was on a getaway with my husband, and he would go out and surf, and I would just go take a walk or a run. And I was walking by the beach, and I was a little bit nervous to reach out to you guys. Honestly, I was like, I don't know.
Really?
I was because I'd had this idea for a while, but I'm like, but women don't really do this. Like every
Mhm.
woman has their own event. Every woman has their own mastermind. Every woman has their own retreat. And I'm not saying that people are scarce, but I think there's a lot of fear that if I expose my women to these women, maybe I'm going to lose clients. And so
Mhm.
it's an unconscious thing. I don't think that they're consciously making that choice, but you don't see a lot of powerful women coming together to collaborate on an actual event or a
Mhm.
retreat. But I just felt it in my heart. And I thought, well, who would I want to do that with? Well, I would want to do it with genuine hearts that I know we respect each other. We all have our unique playgrounds that we play in. And I think we could have a really good time. And so I voice memoed you. You probably heard the ocean in the background, Patrice. And
Mhm.
I voice memoed Amberly. And what was your initial reaction, Patrice? Like when I messaged you, because I really was nervous. I was like, she probably thinks I'm crazy. Uh, but
I
I'm
wasn't even a good. Now, first of all, let's just say that this was a long voice memo, okay? So for the
Ah,
friends who send voice memos, please know Brooke Hemingway will send you a voice memo, okay? But I was not even halfway through the voice memo, and I think I sent you back a message and said, "Oh my gosh, yes." Because the interesting thing about this is I had been just in those few weeks leading up to you sending me the message, I had been praying and thinking about that, what we would do for our retreat, which is typically called Scaling Joy. And I've done them for the last few years. And it's like you said, I was just getting to this point where I can keep doing it by myself, but I'm like, gosh, this could be so much easier. I think that this could be so much more expansive, but I've brought myself as far as I could take myself, right? I'm doing the things that I know to do, but I feel like there's a different way. And so I feel like my heart and my spirit, my soul was already preparing for you to reach out. And as soon as I heard it, I knew it was for us. And like you said, bringing good people together. Like I love on my community so much. And I love our retreat experiences, but allowing them to learn from more than just me and allowing them to connect with other amazing women that maybe they wouldn't have met otherwise. Maybe at a big conference, they would have never crossed paths, but in such an intimate space and in such a beautiful space to be able to like look at other women heart to heart and take the mask off, take the cape off, just be vulnerable, be transparent, be open, and just have an opportunity to again just connect with these other women. I'm like, well, that's how I feel about you. So why would it not make sense to bring our communities together? So for me, I probably said it like in the
yeah.
message, just an instant, absolutely, this is an answered prayer.
Well, and it's like we didn't even have all the details. It was kind of like, well, yeah, and then we'll build the plane on the way down. It just
Yeah.
it felt like a good idea. And I think it's a lesson also to those of you listening to like, if you get an inspiration, just go for it. Just go for the ask.
Hmm.
You never know who's being prepared, and you were being prepared. And it's just your job to ask. And if someone says no, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything about you, but you've probably got some great ideas rattling around in there. And I think a lot of women are trying to do all the things on their own. And why not reach out to other individuals and collaborate and coordinate and bring your communities together? And I know Amberly, um, I first met you through a mutual friend of ours, Tiffany. I ended up being a member of your mastermind, and I've had women in my community that have done some things with you. And the spirit of generosity and just like the connection through being in those rooms, I would have never known those women had I not worked with you. I was in Patrice's room. Like I would have never known these women. And I love getting in rooms with other women. And so for you, Amberly, like what was the pull for you to decide to do this or be a part of this?
Okay, can we just say, first of all, anytime you ever ask me to do anything or I've got an idea, I don't even have to listen to the rest of the 7-minute long voice
Be careful,
memo.
be careful what you say, okay? Because this is giving me a lot of permission.
Well, it's true though, but also I have to tell you, I have to share with you that even my husband, Johnny's like, I'll say, "Oh, I'm flying to Arizona for an event." He's like, "Oh, you're leaving again?" I'm like, "Well, it's for Brooke." And he's like, "Oh, Brooke. Okay, yeah, of course, yeah." Like my family loves you. And I tell the story of how we met, and Patrice, I tell the story. I don't know if you realize this. The first time we met, and I was freaking out, and I was in the bathroom, and you said, "Here, let's pray together." And you held my hands, and I was like, "Okay, she is my sister. I love this lady." And it's women like you that I know, the kind of women that we bring together. And I know that major transformation happens. Healing happens on the island, and lifelong friendships are going to be made. Collaborations and businesses will be built. And it's because the type of women that we gather and the type of women that we are, and we bring these women together, there's something very powerful in that. And it's so much more fun when you get to do your big dreams together. I mean, I just had one of my clients reach out the other day, and she felt like alone, like lonely. I'm like, well, you don't have to do it alone. Like, reach out.
Mhm.
We aren't meant to do hard things alone, and I don't want things to be so hard. And I love that you talk about joy, Patrice. I am all about, like, this is my word this year was joy. And I had to kind of redefine what success meant. And I want others to kind of really take a look at their life and redefine what success means for them. And I know that when we come together as a collective, that we can not only find joy, but we can also time collapse our goals. Everything is
Oh,
just so
yeah.
much easier when we do things together. So I am super excited about this.
Mhm.
And actually, my family is excited about it too, because I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm going to fly you out and we're going to have a little vacation together after the retreat." And they
Yeah,
first
we
thought
are
I was,
too.
"Are you?"
Uh-huh. We're gonna do the same.
I love that. I love it. Yeah.
I love that, but it is such a spirit of abundance. And I was thinking, you know, we kind of talked about this a couple months ago, how a lot of times women can look at what other women are doing and they can feel like
Mhm.
I have to do the same thing, or, well, if she's doing that, I have to do that. And when I think about you, Patrice, like, I think you just have such a spirit of abundance, and also you're so grounded in what you do. Can you talk a little bit more about maybe some of that pressure that people feel to keep up or to do what other people are doing, and
Mhm.
how you don't really feel that way, you know?
Yeah, and I have to say, thank you for saying that, Brooke, but it's a daily decision to not float and drift off to that side of doing life or doing business, because you're always seeing things, social media in particular, despite how raggedy the algorithms are, you're always seeing other people's stuff. And it is always an opportunity for you to tap back in and say, but what do I really want to do? What really lights me up? What brings me joy? I love that Amberly's book, Joy Through the Journey, now a USA bestseller. I love anything that has to do with joy and centering joy, because most of us have been taught that our journeys need to look like other people's. We need to chase the same validation, the same external definitions of success, of peace, of joy, that we need to have other people co sign on what feels right for us. And by the time this drops, I will have just turned 44 years old. And I always say at this big age, I just want to do the things that light me up from the inside out. I don't want to live a life of shoulds. I
Yeah.
don't want to live a life of regret, of thinking, wow, I made things so much harder because I wanted them to look like Brooke. I wanted my stuff to be like Amberly. I wanted to sound like this person or show up like that person. I think the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, and that I've been giving myself permission to really step into over these last several years, is just being Patrice, just accepting, Patrice, that even in my imperfections, God can still use me in such a powerful, perfect way. And that comes from being myself. I can't be used in the same way Amberly is being used. We just don't have the same story, the same experience, the same background. And we don't need it because I have Amberly and I can learn and grow with her and learn from her. So, yeah, this is this has been such a lesson, but I do hope, you guys, that at the event, at the retreat, everyone really walks away feeling more at peace
Mm.
with what they are called to do in the world and how they're called to do it. And not looking to the left, not looking to the right, not judging themselves, but just really rooted in, wow, God made no mistakes on me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm showing up with everything that I have. I walk in the room like God sent me.
That's
Actually,
beautiful.
yeah, I actually know that that's going to happen. That's what happens on Kauai. Like that,
Mhm.
that is what happens is you get very deeply rooted and grounded. And I think that that's an important part of what we are showing through the collaboration is that
Mhm.
I'm not just like you and I'm not just like Amberly. I am my own person and God has given me a divine assignment and you a divine assignment. And how beautiful it is that we can all like play together in the jungle, literally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on the beach, and that is really a prayer of mine too, is that everyone leaves there feeling so deeply rooted in who they are and so
Mhm.
full of joy and celebrating like who they are and celebrating how far they've come and celebrating the expansion that's going to come in the rest of the year. And I know that that's something that we talked about is like, Amberly, is this going to be like your typical conference where you're like sitting in a conference room for 8 to 10 hours a day?
No, and
Ah,
that's one
ah.
of the things that I am so excited about, that this is different from your typical conference where, oh my goodness, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke at an event, and I am not kidding you. It was a 13-hour day in a dark room, conference room, no windows. I was the last speaker. I was in the back doing push ups to get energy. And then I walked through the middle of the audience and started dancing with people just to get the energy up. And those conferences, look, I know you learn a lot, but I think that you spark more creativity when you are in a place of peace and joy and gratitude, and you're on this magical island. And I think it's what so many people need. I know I need it. I know that I
Same.
need to, and I've been taking time just to get out in nature, and the difference that that makes throughout my day, just getting out in nature and get some sunshine. There is something so healing. We went to Kauai for our honeymoon, and there is something so healing and magical about being in a place like this. And I love that we have it set up to where we're not in a conference room learning. I mean, that's all important, but learn and play. And you can learn and spark just as much creativity. Sometimes you bond more with someone when you're off on a bike ride or you're kayak
Yeah.
or we're hiking together. It's where you really build those friendships, but just taking that time to exhale and kind of getting the download of, yes, what's inside you, but maybe you've just been so busy and so, your to-do list has been never ending that you haven't even taken a moment to think about what is it that your heart desires? What is
Yeah.
it that does spark joy for you? And so I'm excited about this because we have planned times for learning. And I love learning from you, Patrice, and you, Brooke. I love you ladies so much. And I'm just as excited to learn from y'all. But then we have times of play and exercise and delicious food. And I just have to say, Brooke, okay, Brooke Hemingway sent over the list of all the things that we're going to do. And it was like, I was scrolling through the doc. It was like, did you look, Patrice, did you look
I
at that?
did.
And you're like,
Yeah.
holy moly. Is it kind of like her
Yeah.
voice memos?
Sunrise yoga, like, yeah, all the I'm so excited, but I have to say, Amberly, even what you shared about how we really met. Yes, we met at the event, but what really connected us was an impromptu moment in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You could
Hmm.
just tell that you were a little tense, and I was like, girl, let me pray with you, right?
And I
Some of the
cried.
You did, I know. And some of the best moments, though, when I have been at events and I put myself in the room, are not even always the things that happen in the room. It's
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
impromptu conversations that happen on the way to the bathroom or walking down a hallway or standing in a Starbucks line and going, hey, are you here for the same thing? Oh, let's talk. Like, those have been some of the best moments and where I have met some of my good girlfriends literally who've been friends now for 10 years, 8 years, 5 years. Yes, we all said yes to going into the room, but it's the good stuff that happens when you're not even expecting it. Like you can't even plan for it. We can't tell you the curriculum in the room. That's nothing. It's all the juice that happens walking around and just being what you attract and, what comes your way. That's what I'm super excited about.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
Just coming like open to receive, I think, is what I want people, especially like, I don't know if anyone's like type A. I mean, you're talking about my Google Doc. So maybe you're telling me I'm a little much, but
No,
I,
I love it. I wish I could be more like that.
I like details. I'm very detail oriented. I'm just going to go with what Coach Dar said. I'm a woman of excellence, right?
Yes.
I'm a woman of excellence. I'm not stressed out about it at all, but there is a plan. Like for those of you that are planners, we're not telling you what the whole plan is. So this is like a lesson in surrendering and showing up and being ready to receive. And that might be at one of the 3 ginormous pool cabanas that we have every day. And you might be deciding, I don't think I want to do any of those adventure things. Like it sounds terrible to me to put a snorkel mask on and see dolphins. Like I would hate that. Okay, great. You don't have to do that. You can sit on the beach or you can sit in the cabana. Like the way that it's created as well, I think of it as being like a playground. And you can go to the monkey bars if you want to. You can swing on the swings. You can hang out and play kickball. Like you get to also pick your own adventure and create the experience that you would like. So I know that some people will come into this space and they will be in a place where they just need rest and they're
Hmm.
going to be at the beach or they're going to be at the pool. And then some people are going to be like, I'm ready to play. And I think it's just really beautiful when you can create an experience that I know that everyone that comes is going to get exactly what they need. I always
Yeah.
and I think you guys know that when you do an event or you do a retreat, I'm not really in charge. Like it's the creator is in charge. We're just facilitating this experience. We're organizing it. We're putting it together. We're thinking of all the little details because we want you to feel like a queen and we want you to have an incredible experience. However, we're not really in charge. You're going to
Yeah.
get what you need to get, you know?
That's a part of abundance mindset, right? Scarcity mindset would say, oh my gosh, I have to do every single thing. If they're leaving, I got to be a part of that group and I want to go to this thing and that thing. And abundance says, I'm going to get exactly what I came here to get if I don't go hiking. Because when I saw all the things too, I was like, well, bike riding, I'm out, honey. Don't even. I'm too tall to fall. I'm not. You can count me out. I'll be at the cabana, right? But it's just in trusting that you are going to get whatever you need to get. And there are so many things to choose from. You literally will just be able to curate the perfect experience for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you said, Brooke, and I was not joking when I said I want to be more like that. I struggle with like Google Docs and stuff. So I'm not kidding. Maybe I can learn that on our trip together. But I love that you said that some people will need to rest. Some people want to play. I know I want both. I want rest and I want play, you know? And so I love that there's so many things to choose from. And most of all, I love that all the connections that are going to be made because it is so true. Sometimes you think that you are going, somebody is going to go to this retreat thinking, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to meet, Patrice and Brooke in person. This is my chance. And you might have that is what you think you're going for. And you might end up meeting someone completely different and decide to do your own event together or to start a podcast together or even to write a book together. Who knows? I mean, there are so many different things that could happen, so much magic that can transpire at an event like this. But it is when you get together with passionate, like-minded, like-hearted, beautiful souls that is where that's where all the good things happen. That's where the joy is sparked.
I think it's also too, for me, and maybe you guys can speak to this. I never used to believe like that much was possible for me. And getting in the room with people that were doing different things or bigger things or were more successful, it wasn't intimidating to me. I didn't feel like I was less than it. I was really curious. And
Mhm.
there's something to me about community, and we're all community builders. Maybe you guys can speak to this, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like that proximity to people that think different and they're doing different. Um, my hope is that you'll get into that space and you won't feel insecurity, but instead you'll be curious and you'll
Mm-hmm.
ask questions and you'll have those rich conversations because I now think so differently about what's possible and money and what I can create. And some of it I don't want to do, and some of it I want to do. But my mind has been opened, and there aren't very many spaces that you can get in with like 40 to 50 women that are all out there making their unique stamp, on the world that think completely differently. And I think it's such a gift to get in the room. That to me is like, that's money. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's
That's
money right.
priceless.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, proximity is power, right? And the powerful thing about it is once your mind has been expanded, it can never be contracted again. Like once you
Mhm.
know that something is possible, it raises not just a certain amount of belief, but also expectation. Like your soul has an expectation that, man, if I keep doing this, I can have this. If I keep getting in these spaces, because being in the space with the right people changes your language. And when you change your language, your thoughts change, your beliefs change, your actions change, your habits change, and therefore your outcomes are so much more likely to reflect what you say you desire versus when you state that you want something and you're not around people who are doing that. You're not around people who are living that way. You're not around people who are speaking the language of abundance and vision and joy and wealth and all this stuff. It's like you want it but you keep shrinking and contracting back, right? And
Mhm.
then you want it but when you're in a space where the conversations just become normal, it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, I could do that. You're absolutely right. Let me go home and get to work. Yeah, I can have that, not just work but for my family. I can have a good relationship. I can be and have really supportive friendships and have good girlfriends and all this stuff. Like, oh, there are people who want to support me. Collaboration does exist, but you have to put yourself in proximity
Mhm.
because for me, I will say when I started to put myself in better spaces, there were times where I didn't necessarily have it because I wasn't raised this way. I wasn't raised with these types of thoughts and ideas
Yeah.
and perspective, but I put myself in spaces where people believed so much in what they were saying, I could borrow their belief until I felt like it was possible for me. And I think this is that type of space where a woman might come and say, I know they're all talking about nice relationships and this and that, but I'm gonna have to borrow their belief until I know that it's possible for me. And that's okay. That's a good way to start. Sometimes you have to borrow other people's stories and their testimonies and again their language and their beliefs so you know it's possible for you.
I
Well,
love that. And I agree. Yeah, I think sometimes you need somebody to I know for me, I needed somebody to believe in me before I could believe in myself. And some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, I don't know if I would have been able to do it had it not been for that one conversation, for that one spark, for that one time I decided to get in the room and met that one person. I mean, I started my podcast because I had one person say, "You should totally, you can do a podcast. I'll show you what equipment to get." And I literally started a podcast like the next week. I didn't know what I was doing when I went to write my first book. And there were a lot of opinions, a lot of people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You don't own a computer. You don't have a college education. You need to stick to the fitness." But it was the one conversation that I had, and it was counsel, seeking counsel and not opinion, because everybody's going to have opinion. But when you get around people who have done the things that you want to do, or they have the big dreams, like you have the big dreams, and you have that one conversation, or you can feel that they believe in you, it's like it puts you on a rocket ship. It lifts your spirit, it fills your cup, it gives you that belief that you can accomplish what you set out to accomplish. And so, yeah. And I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Brooke.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback onto that because I know some people listening might be thinking, I'm not sure if I'm good enough to be there. I'm not sure if I know, I'm not sure if I know what's next for me or what my path is. I'm not sure if I want a podcast. I'm not sure if I want to write a book. Like they're talking about all these things. Kind of like that. You're feeling that nudge that like, this is a space I want to be in. It sounds like joy. It sounds like peace. It sounds like expansion. It sounds like fun. It sounds magical. But who am I to be in that space? We all started somewhere. And
Mhm.
everyone there has walked a path of having to learn how to do things. And I think that there's something so beautiful and so like sacred about making the choice to be in the room. It's like when you make that choice, you're saying, I'm worthy. Like I even if you just have a little seed of belief in yourself, it's like you're stepping forward and saying, I am worthy. And I'm not sure what's next for me, but I know I need to be in that space. And all the answers will come. Like everything will be revealed. And any kind of space that the three of us create is going to be a space where you totally feel at home and you totally feel like held and you feel like you belong. Like I know that about these women and about myself. And I just feel it in my bones that there is going to be like powerful downloads, powerful transformations, like things that are spoken to you, things that you hear, things that you just, while you're walking along the beach, you can't even imagine how beautiful it is. While I'm pushing you off the black rock to jump into the ocean, just kidding, I'm not going to do that. But maybe you might want to at this magical beach called Lumahai. You just
I
might
want to.
um, when you do that, it's like doing that one thing might be the fun play activity that teaches you that you have more courage and more strength that you thought you had just because you jumped into the ocean, right? And so there is learning in the play, there is learning in the conversation, and you don't have to be any one thing. Like you don't have to be like, oh, I make a bajillion dollars, so I belong in this room. I've never really been a respecter of money. What I respect is like heart and desire and hunger, like heart and desire and hunger, and people with good hearts, with desire to make an impact and a difference, and with hunger to like change and to grow. Like to me, that's what it's all about. So I don't know. I just felt like, some people listening might be like, I'm not sure if I'm good enough to be in that space. And I'm sure some of, you guys have felt that way in the past. I know that I used to think, do I belong here? And even though I felt that way, I still chose into those rooms. I still put myself in those rooms and I was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're not saying that anymore. I'm going. And I'm going to go up
Mm-hmm.
to that person and I'm going to introduce myself and I'm going to have that conversation. It's just an exercise of putting yourself out there. It's transformed my life being in rooms. Like I preach it all the time. Like I will never not be in rooms. I'm selective about the rooms now. Right? But I will
Yeah.
never not be in the rooms. And I'm just so excited about the whole experience for everyone.
I think something that you really illuminated there too is just being aware that everyone is not an entrepreneur and everyone doesn't desire entrepreneurship. I know in our mastermind, Mastery Momentum, several of the ladies are corporate executives, they're nonprofit leaders. They are not necessarily interested in entrepreneurship. So if you're hearing this too and you're like, man, I would love to go, but I just have a job. No, this is for you too. Redefining wealth, we are so much about just aligning your life to get to whatever vision you desire and leveraging the pillars to protect that vision. And whatever your vision is, there is no way that being around powerful, kind, like-hearted, but driven by purpose women can't like
Mm-hmm.
add to your life. There's no way that you can't take something away from that because I know personally, unless you guys ask me to, I don't know that I'm really going to be sharing or teaching anything that's specifically about business. I feel like this is an opportunity to really talk about all the parts of life that are
Mm.
impacting our careers, our businesses, how we show up in the world, because at the end of the day, that's the meat of it. Like that's the substance. The skill set piece is teeny tiny. Like I always tell my clients,
Yeah.
you don't even have a problem with vision. This problem with visibility is about something going on the inside. Like we need to talk about those things, right? So I just wanted to say that too. And Brooke, something else you mentioned was jumping in the ocean. I'd like to say also, I will not be jumping in the ocean. So there are now two things on the list. Is riding a bike on the beach. Won't be doing that. And there's also jumping in the ocean. So if you're not going to do that and you just want to get in the ocean up till about your waist, you can stand with me. Okay? We can hold hands and do it together because I
I
won't
will
be
take
jumping
you
in the
to the
ocean.
tide pool. I will take you to the tide pool where there are no waves coming in. How about that? We've got that deal. No, it's so true. And I feel the same way because everyone defines success differently. And not everyone wants the same thing, and it doesn't make someone else better than another person. You know that I'm big at talking about alignment, which is so in alignment with the pillars. And my alignment is not your alignment, is not Sally's alignment, is not Mary's alignment. We all have different alignments, and it's a perfect opportunity, I think, as well, to come back into alignment for yourself. Because always and forever, I will always say the quality of your success, however you determine success and define it, is going to be in direct proportion to the quality of your life. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
does your life look like? What does it feel like to live in your body? What is the experience of being in your life? What is that like? And if you're losing there, you're not successful. Like, we want you to have
Yeah.
a beautiful experience of life. And what does it feel like to be you when you wake up every day and coming back home to that alignment? That is going to be like, that's money right there. Because if you can figure out that part, whether you're a CEO or you're a teacher or you're an entrepreneur, to me, it doesn't matter what those are. We're all human beings. And I think we're attracted to each other because we are purpose chasers, like you said, but we're all on a journey of really wanting to live the most authentic, joyful, expansive life that's right for us individually. And so
Mhm.
we are all going to be different, and that's beautiful. Like, I love that. I'm super excited about that.
I am too. And I'm so glad you brought up, Patrice, that it's not just for entrepreneurs because, like, in my mastermind, I have a doctor and a flight nurse. So, Brooke, you'll know the flight nurse. That's like the top of the top nurses, right? That's what I've heard. But I love that you talk about alignment, and I love that you're talking about like really stepping into your purpose and your joy, because I do feel like when you are not just comfortable in your own skin, but you are happy and you are joyful about where you are and who you are and being authentically you, and you know what your values are, and you know what being in alignment is and what it feels like, that's when everything starts to fall into place.
Yeah. And you're doing the right thing for the right reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately, we're coming together to facilitate an experience where you can come home to the pillars, you can come home to alignment, you can come home to joy. And whatever expands from there is going to be exactly what you need. Whether you're looking for the drop in of the business idea or you're looking for the help with the relationship, I feel like pausing in life and being undistracted is so rare. And you really can't help but be undistracted on Kauai. Can I describe to them a little bit what it's like on Kauai?
Yes.
Okay. So, for those of you that really like the nightlife, if like Miami is your vibe, I love you, I see you, but that's not Kauai. So, if you're hungry and it's after 9 o'clock, you're out of luck. Like there is no food, there are no restaurants, and it's dark outside. And you will see millions and millions of stars, and you will see the Milky Way. And it's simple and it's beautiful and it's lush. It's like the Garden of Eden. That's how I describe it. And it's a place where it's not overly busy. You know, the speed limit's like 35, maybe 45. And so think about it as being a slow down and almost kind of going back into time in some ways to where you can't be distracted. And you're going to be met in that experience with inspiration, with revelation, with great human beings, with some curated teachings and some curated activities. If you choose to jump off the rock, you don't have to. There's also the cabanas and the beach and the shade and all the good
There
things.
we go.
Yes.
Yes.
And the sunset dinner and the sunset reception, we're literally right on the ocean. So every room, it's your room is included in this retreat is oceanfront, ocean view. And so you're going to wake up every single morning and you're going to hear the ocean. You're going to see the sunset every single evening. You're going to have a walking path that you can walk on that goes, for miles, or you're going to be able to just put your feet in the sand. It's a magical place. In fact, when I was 18, I don't know if you know this about me, my parents got divorced when I was 16, and I lived in Wisconsin, and I wanted to get as far away from Wisconsin as I could possibly get. So Hawaii sounded like a great idea. So when I was 18, I moved to Hawaii, and Hawaii was for me this incredible healing and expansion place. And I fell in love with it. And if you've never been there, that's kind of what you'll experience is like the island sort of sucks you in and it spits you out a different, better person. And I'm excited for you to just get to experience the beauty, to be taken care of. This is kind of like the all inclusive sort of experience where you get to come and just get yourself there and you don't have to worry about the rest. You just get to rest and enjoy and connect and have all the downloads that are meant for you. I don't know how to describe Kauai except it's just unlike anything else you've ever seen. If you want to go out on the boat, we'll see dolphins, we'll see sea cliffs, you'll have the opportunity to do that or do nothing at all. Whatever you want it to be, it'll be the perfect thing for you. So I'm just so excited to bring good women together because I know and you guys could maybe speak to this. I know good women that are doing good work in the world oftentimes don't take time for themselves. They don't pamper themselves. They don't slow down. They're running nonprofits, they're CEOs, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're entrepreneurs, they're moms, they're wives. Like they're just going, going, going. And it's so rare to give yourself the gift to slow down. So what would you say in closing to that person that's like, I don't know, I got so much to do. My life is so stressful. I don't know if I can do this. What would you say to that?
I would say you're worth it. and you deserve it. And you will come back so recharged and so refreshed and so full of ideas, plus relationships that you'll have for a lifetime. I remember the first time I ever went to Hawaii. I sat and dropped my bags, and this random person came over to me and said, "You're here for a reason. You're here to heal." And I was like, "Oh." And it was magical. So magical that that's where I went back for, we went for our honeymoon. And for those of you who want to jump off that cliff with me, I will hold your hand and jump off the cliff with you. And I also talked about there's an amazing hike that goes to a waterfall, but it's a pretty intense hike. And we're not going to do that. But I don't know. You daredevils out there, I'm a daredevil. I might want to do that. Just,
Well, I would say I'll be your photographer, Amberly, and those daredevils. I will zoom in on your cameras and support you in getting footage from down below. But I would say to that woman, I was thinking the same thing Amberly said as you were asking the question, Brooke. I was thinking you're worth it. But I will add to that, we as women teach people that they can come to us for any and everything all day, every day, that we are superhuman, that we wear the cape, that we are, I mean, just made of steel, like we just keep going and going and going. And the reality is, not only do we deserve it, we have to teach other people to see us as worth it, to see us as worth the pause, worth the alone time, worth the sacred space. Like we have to retrain people how to see us and how to love us and how to appreciate us in this season, because there's so much distraction, there's so much noise, there's so much competing on top of just normal life. And if we don't take that time for ourselves and demonstrate to other people that we believe it with our actions, they'll just continue to expect the world from us. And even though they love us, be a part of our demise, like be a part of our burnout, be a part of,
yeah.
our breakdowns. And we have to say, you know what, I'm worth 5 days in Hawaii. And I'm going to take it. And guess what? Everyone's still going to survive. You all are going to eat, right? Even if you have to eat cereal, you all will make it. Everyone will get to their appointed destinations. It is time for you to not have to be everyone else's cook, chauffeur, mediator, all the roles that we play as women, and say, no, I'm just going to take this time for me. So I agree with Amberly. You're worth it. And it's also time that you teach other people around you to see you as worth it, because they see you making time for yourself.
So good.
Amen. I remember one of the first podcasts I listened to from you, and I just found you on social media. We had like a bunch of different mutual friends. That's how I found you. Amberly through another friend, and I was just like bold enough to reach out to you, and you didn't know who I was, and now look what you've gotten yourself into, right?
I love it.
I remember one of the first podcasts I listened to, you said, I am worthy even when I am at rest. And so I think I want to just kind of wrap us up here is you are worthy even when you are at rest, and you will grow, yes, and you will expand, and you will meet new friends, and you will have new ideas, and you might even write up a new business plan or a new nonprofit plan. You might do that, or you might rest, or you might do all of those things. And no matter what you do, it's just a good reminder that you are worthy even when you are at rest, and rest is necessary. We were not created to run all the time, to be in charge all the time. Like you said, Patrice, to be everything for everyone. And it is such an important lesson that we teach ourselves and continue to remind ourselves of and teach others. And so if this sounds like a pure dream to you, and you're like, I need this, it's July 13th through July 18th on the beautiful, magical garden island of Kauai. And we'll link it up in our show notes, or you can reach out to any one of us. It is limited in space, limited in capacity, because we do want it to have an intimate feel where women are really going to be able to connect. So we're limited to about 40 people maximum. So if this is speaking to you and you're desiring and craving this kind of sisterhood, this kind of rest, this kind of joy, reach out, connect, and let's get you on the beautiful island of Kauai. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.